Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to the News Now. I'm Cyria Sandlin. Thank you for joining us. If you missed Daybreak, we will get you caught up on everything you need to know. We are live right now on WTOC.com, our news app, Amazon Fire, Roku, Twitter, and Facebook. Hurricane Michael is heading towards the Gulf Coast this morning. Cutter, where is that hurricane now? What impacts could we see because it is now a Category 4?
Yeah, sustained winds at 145 miles per hour and now. Now, our local impact forecast has not really changed. It really hasn't changed at all. We're tracking a very dangerous hurricane with catastrophic impacts expected here, nearly imminent across the Florida Panhandle. And this portion of the coast, along and east of its track, going to have the most significant storm surge. And kind of let's divide the hurricane up into quadrants. We talked about this, Andrew did specifically this morning. We're going to remain in the right front quadrant throughout the duration of this event. That is some of the strongest winds, and that is some of the nastiest weather and the greatest risk of an isolated tornado. Now, a big plus on our side here is it has a lot of land to go through before it makes its closest pass to the coastal empire in the low country. So it will weaken substantially by the time it gets here. Still, it's not a storm to be messed with. Category 4 hurricane will make landfall here within the next, let's say 5-6 hours, right around noon to 2 or so, very near Panama City Beach, with sustained winds of 145 miles per hour. Would not be at all surprised if this needs to be bumped up even a little bit further. And then thereafter, it's going to push into middle Georgia, the Midlands of South Carolina. Still a Category 1 hurricane in west central Georgia Thursday morning. We are on the east side, strong southerly and southeasterly winds, maybe southwesterly southern areas by that point. And then it shoots off to the north and to the east, getting out of here quickly with conditions improving from southwest, south of the Altamaha, to northeast, low country through the day Thursday. So the first to get stormy weather today, south of the Altamaha River, going to be the first to see improving conditions on your Thursday. But I do want to talk about that kind of decline in weather conditions that we expect today. We will have isolated showers and thunderstorms late this morning, early afternoon, but I think a good portion of the day will be okay. Partly cloudy, really muggy and breezy. But as we get into the late afternoon, the early evening, for example, 4:30 or so, notice the first outer rain band, Santa Claus, Baxley, Lyons County, Appleton County, down to Waycross, Nahunta, Pierce, Brantley County, Screven, over to Douglas, Hazelhurst, first outer band moving in, and there will be the potential for some gusty winds with those and also an isolated tornado risk. That first band will probably weaken as it approaches the Savannah River, 8, 9, 10 p.m., but future rain bands that are building off to the west and southwest will eventually make it through the entire area. That's why we expect rain to become more widespread, the gusty winds to become more widespread after midnight. So the real time to watch, the nastiest weather as it looks right now, midnight Thursday morning to about noon Thursday afternoon, then improving, and Friday is looking gorgeous on into the weekend. So of course we talked about the risk of an isolated tornado. Something we'll all be feeling at least is the wind out there. It could be pretty gusty. Here's Andrew with the latest look at who may see what.
All right, so we're going to start those future wind gusts here coming up later this evening. That's when we're going to start feeling these impacts for the wind specifically. Now, just to start off, these are the wind gusts. These are not going to be the sustained winds, but these are going to be those higher bursts of energy where you can kind of notice that, hey, the wind's getting a little bit stronger outside. And this is what really could cause the majority of the scattered power outages across the area. So let's take you through time here, starting at 8 o'clock tonight, going to midnight. Notice our inland communities here, Vidalia, Baxley, Alma, Waycross, over 40 miles an hour. Once you get over 39 there, you've got that tropical storm force wind and the low to mid 30s coming out of the southeast there midnight. So this is going to be a very noisy evening, a hard one to sleep through as well. Taking you through 8 a.m. tomorrow, still seeing those wind gusts over 50 miles an hour, not out of the question whatsoever. And that's really going to be in play from midnight through about 6 o'clock. But then we're going to start seeing those wind speeds start to relax just a little bit as we go to the afternoon of Thursday. But still at 8 o'clock, notice the wind now coming from the south in the southwest as the center of that circulation passes to our north. That's when we're going to see things start to slow down just a little bit here. Still breezy, but nicer for the second half of Thursday. But possible to likely for these power outages. I would plan on it, just the possibility of it anyways, have enough for the next couple of days because you could be without power for a couple of days. Also, something thing to think about is you don't want to take more than you need, so just get enough for the next few days. So that's talking about the wind specifically, also that isolated tornado threat, so make sure you have your alerts turned on, your WTOC weather app, especially because this is overnight. But also wanted to give you a look at traffic out there. We had some earlier showers this morning. No major traffic issues, which is good news. A little bit damper over in the low country still after some rain this morning, but I'm going to leave you guys here with some drive times. 21 southbound, of course, is usually backed up. It's starting to get a little bit better. Goshen to 95 at just 9 minutes. Stay with us all day for updates on Michael.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. Well, the Chatham Emergency Management Agency continues to watch Hurricane Michael as it gets closer to us. Right now, SEMA is operating under its mobilization phase, bracing for any type of impact from the storm. Our Zach Logan is taking a look at the final preparations underway right now. Zach?
Well, sorry, we've been outside of the SEMA office for about an hour now, and I can tell you I've seen multiple people going in and out. We do know that the Chatham County Emergency Operations Center is now active, and as we speak, representatives are sitting and monitoring, watching this storm to try to see what type of impacts we could see from Michael. Now, the SEMA's director, Dennis Jones, tells me that high winds and power outages could definitely be the biggest threat for Chatham County. Wind speeds could reach around 25 to 35 miles per hour with even higher wind gusts. The director says the agency has been busy these last few days. On Tuesday, the agency met with its command policy group. That group is made up of several different city and county leaders like the county chair, city mayors, city managers, and others. SEMA says they want to make sure that all cities, communities, agencies, they're all on the same page. The agency has also reached out to its partners to make sure they're ready to offer assistance just in case we see more of a negative impact from the storm. Now, when it comes to you and your family, SEMA says the best thing to do is to just be prepared.
Secure any windborne hazards, anything that could potentially become a windborne hazard that's in your property. If you have something that can easily be blown around by the wind, we want to make sure that you take the time to secure those items, put them in a garage, put them in a sturdy shelter. Just make sure that they are protected in some way, because you don't want to lose your property because of wind, and you don't want your property to damage somebody else's property.
The director says many communities within the county are also making their final preparations. Tybee Island City Hall is closed today ahead of the storm, and you can also see those double red flags blowing in the wind on Tybee. That means that swimming conditions are extremely dangerous and that the water is closed to the public. Now, we will continue to check in with SEMA and our Emergency Operations Center to see how it's looking for our area. Of course, when we get updates, we will bring them to you both on air and online and on our news app as well. Reporting live from Chatham County's headquarters this morning, Zach Logan, WTOC News.
Florida, Alabama, and right here in Georgia. Yesterday, Georgia Governor Nathan Deal declared those states of emergency for 92 Georgia counties, including all of the counties in the WTOC viewing area. That declaration is effective for 7 days and makes state resources available to local governments and entities within the impacted area. It also prohibits price gouging for goods and services needed, preparedness, life safety, and recovery. It also prohibits price gouging related to goods and services necessary to support preparedness efforts, life safety, and recovery. It does not change messages from local officials. Government officials have not declared evacuation orders for anyone in our viewing area. Savannah-Chatham County Public Schools will be in session today. Here was a look at some other recent school closings. Liberty County School System will close Thursday. That includes all after-school activities. Bullock County Schools and Bullock Academy will close today and Thursday. We have a lot of school closings online at WTOC.com. And SEMA says they don't need any shelters right now, but they are ready in case that changes. In Effingham County, though, Good Samaritan shelters will open tonight at 6 for anyone who feels unsafe staying in their home. Here is a list of locations. If you go to one of the shelters, you are asked to bring your own bedding, toiletries, food, and water. Also, here's a list of the events that have already been canceled because of Michael: the Windsor Park ribbon cutting ceremony, a special city council meeting, and Alderman John Hall's District 3 Town Hall meeting. These are all City of Savannah events. We'll let you know the due dates for those events when they have been rescheduled. As the hurricane gets closer to the Florida Panhandle, hundreds of power line technicians from across the country are headed to Pensacola this morning. More than 200 linemen were sent to the Pensacola Interstate Fairgrounds yesterday. Gulf Power has called in crews from as far as Michigan to help Northwest Florida with any outages. All right, this is a story a lot of you are talking about right now on social media. A Bloomingdale man has to get out a tree out of his dining room today somehow. Check out this video. This is the home of Andrew Rawlings. He says he's lived in that home for 50 years and never had a tree fall through, but the strong winds blew through last night, snapping a tree in his front yard. Look at this.
Surprise, mostly, you know, that particular tree would break, you know, of all the trees that we thought would break, you know, when that one broke, it just, you know, kind of blew my mind.
We're told the house was able to keep power throughout the night since Georgia Power can't turn off the power until that tree is removed. And I am just so thankful that the Rawlings family is okay. I mean, that came right through their dining room. But we do know, I was talking to you about this, Andrew, that storm last night in Bloomingdale actually wasn't really related to the outer bands of Michael.
No, not necessarily. No, the overall wind pattern, sure, but the outer bands, no, not at all.
Awesome. So we are getting a lot of comments right now, and I know a lot of them are weather related. So if you guys want to take a chance to kind of respond to them, a lot of people asking about certain areas, kind of looking at those. A lot of people saying good morning. People are asking about Jessup and Glenville, those types of areas, which we know might see more of a significant impact than we will in Savannah. Yeah,
basically we're still going to keep it in that 40 to 60 mile per hour gust range. I posted a similar map kind of indicating that on my Facebook page, but you know, that higher end of that range, probably more likely Emmanuel County, Toombs County, down to Coffee Jeff Davis County, Scriven County, further inland. The other area that may see some stronger wind gusts, kind of like them, and this is more to do with science here, is just right there at the coastline. We'll have an onshore wind for part of this, less friction from the water to reduce the wind speed. So the beach is going to be fairly windy as well, but there have been no significant changes in the overall forecast. I'm noticing here definitely some good questions coming in. Folks asking about the pressure with this system. It continues to drop now in the 930, so solidly a category 4. And what that means is that as the pressure drops, the wind tends to increase, and I'm sure Andrew would agree, strengthening certainly possible up until landfall.
Yeah, so technically what happens here is you get a bigger pressure gradient over a smaller distance. That just means that you're going to have stronger wind over that distance. And something else that we're, you know, it's a concern. It's not the biggest concern with what we're looking at tonight going tomorrow would be those isolated tornadoes. We're on that quadrant side, or we will be once the storm passes on through here, of the potential for some of those short-lived EF0, EF1 tornadoes. But you don't want to say that there couldn't be a little bit stronger one, because with Florence and Richmond over in Virginia, there was a stronger EF2 as well. So again, this isn't our biggest concern. It's going to be those straight line winds that are going to cause those scattered power outages. So I'd really recommend having at least a couple days worth of supplies, just in case we do in fact see those power outages around the area.
Absolutely. And I'm still seeing lots of questions about the schools, because we have learned that a lot of the inland county and school districts have already canceled school for, if not today, part of today and all of tomorrow. As far as Savannah Chatham County Public Schools, they are canceling all after school activities today. We do not know yet about tomorrow. We're still waiting to hear that decision from the superintendent. Obviously, we are going to keep you updated on that. You can still continue to ask us questions. We're going to be tracking this all morning long. You'll be back with another update at 11.
Yeah, and we continue to have some good information coming in right now. Actually, I want to, producer was telling me this. We do have a live shot from Panama City Beach in Florida. This could be a likely landfall point, and just went out. You know, that's the thing with live TV and a storm like this. But, you know, you brought up a good point, Saria. Before we send it off, I want people to know that the majority of today is okay if they do have any prep plans. And here's Sarasota. And notice this is going to be on the west coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast, but a little bit further down the coast towards Tampa. And on the right-hand side, you can kind of see that upward angle of the cloud and the blur. That's heavy rain. That is a true outer rain band associated with Michael, again on its north and eastern side, and that kind of setup is something that can spawn one of those isolated tornadoes that Andrew was talking about. And that tornado risk is something that may actually materialize before the most persistent gusts do. So we're talking this evening by dinner time, south and west of the Altamaha River, chances there to increasing, and we could have we will have that chance expand across the rest of the area through the night.
Yeah, and just something that's a little bit concerning. You never want these storms to come at all, and you don't want to have the highest impact time frame happening overnight when people could be asleep. So make sure that you have a way to be alerted. Of course, the WTOC weather app, turn your alerts on. I know sometimes people turn those off, but have those turned on because it could really help you out overnight. And if you have your no weather radios, which are great, plugged into the wall, but you lose power, they might not go off. So just make sure you have those devices charged and play it on the safe side.
Yeah, and you made a good point. Today is going to be an okay day, should be a safe day. Use the time today to go get what you need. If power goes out, do you have what you need to be okay for a couple of days? So use this morning, this afternoon, run to the store, get your supplies. I know we're going to be here for the long haul. I'm going to run and get a few things, but just make sure you have a plan. We'll be back at 10 a.m. with another news update and then 11 a.m. with another weather update. Have a great day, everyone.